Welcome one and all. This is a new video series that I've just thought of about doing. It's the differences between your server choice, either Euro or NA East. The idea came about earlier on today when I was getting slightly bored of the lag, and early morning play on NA East isn't really an ideal factor because there's hardly anyone on. Changed over to the European server, and although my bias is that I don't like the server itself, it got me thinking after playing a game or two and seeing a vast difference between the two in my opinion. I thought, well, do you know what, I'll play a couple of games on each server and see what's actually going on. The first one being that I did it in the Tier 1 E6. I wanted to try Tier 2 matches or Tier 3s and find out what's the difference at lower tiers then going up. The first one, not much of a difference. It just seemed to be that the low tier matches will be a free for all, and they'll just generally happen to whatever will happen in the game. People go their own ways. It's the same on both. There's no real difference at all between the two. I wouldn't expect there to be a difference, to be perfectly honest. They're not exactly people well thought out and where they're going. The second one being slightly different in the tiers, at least. I'm going up to a tier 7, so my Tiger. Fortunately, I was able to get on Abbey, so that wasn't too bad itself. So getting both of them on different servers made it easier to make a difference. The first part I recognised was people being indecisive. It is really amusing to see that there is a massive cluster of people just sat down doing nothing at the start of the map, and it nigh on goes to the point where they all get took out. I go down the right hand side on the water and find that there's absolutely no one there until the end. There was an AT7. The recording only goes on for about a minute or so, just literally to show you the start of the map, because it's the main reasons to why things fail is people not going in the right direction. You see the other team take the middle of the map and that's it, job done. They've absolutely got every single key point on that map, and it's just game over for our team, as it did for me. A bit later on, the only tank I saw, the AT7, oh well, better luck next time I suppose. NA East was a lot easier to play. People going in the right direction as to what they should do, and we ended up winning the game. Again, going down that side was just a massive ease for me. The next one being in the T57. This was a slightly different one in the basis between what you'd expect to see on the EU server and what actually happens. Found out that both games really good. Teamwork all over the place. The wide part game I actually enjoyed more because of people helping me out, taking on multiple tanks at tank destroyers, E4s, E3s, just with ease, and knowing that people behind me, artillery firing over the top and taking out tanks that were in front of me and flanking people. I didn't get too much damage, but then the teamwork itself was unreal. The game on Himmelsdorf was another example of teamwork working together, rushing up the top, seeing that their team didn't decide to go up the hill, but in the end we ended up winning the game by considerable margin. I didn't really get that much damage taken as well, so my silver taken XP was rather large, so I'm very pleased about that. And the final one that I ended up playing was in my most hated tank. I really don't like this premium tank, and these two games proved me wrong. Again, the Euro server not being something that you would expect to be the case that it is. Teamwork all over the place, everyone working as they should do. The main difference between the two on these is that I had conversation, not me personally, but there was also many people talking on the map, which is on the right hand side for your NA East. It's one thing you will find is people communicate a lot more. One of the reasons I kept it ongoing is purely for the fact that you can hear the conversation between the tankers and people making judgment decisions based on their current state, so calling out tanks where they are, what they're doing. You will find that more on the NA East than you will the European server, more than likely due to language barrier. You've got such a varied language difference on the European server. As such, there are many different countries within Europe itself that will play, which does give the advantage to the NA East, since everyone will generally be talking English. Everyone will tend to understand. So if you are English yourself, the NA East server or the NA West, depending on where you are, if you are in the United States, is perfect. There wouldn't be a reason for you to change to the European server other than to try a new method, try something else out. The other main differences I found between the two, least of which the conversation itself, was my bias did change. Although I presume that European server was poor in comparison to the NA East, the games that we won because of teamwork. We didn't win because of a single tank that went and ran amok or someone went and just carried everyone in the backpack. It was always a team victory. There wasn't something that stood out as being an individual tank that excelled. But then again, the same said in the games that we lost quite horrifically. It wasn't the case of one tank on the enemy team. It was the fact that they all work together, which just seemed to be that when it does happen, it all flows for you and you're all hunky-dory. You just go on and win the game. So as far as this one's concerned, in my opinion, it's only a small sample what I've got. These are only 8 matches with 4 different tanks. I don't think it's a case of the European server is worse than the NAEs, but if you are wanting to have a better chance, the NAEs is better just on the premise of you being able to speak the same language as other people. That is my opinion, and I do tend to play on the NAE server quite a bit, and also to find other people, other forumers and whatnot, and see if you can come across them. But if I'm going to say one thing, it is that it's within this sample size at least, it's busted. It's not something which is a guaranteed fail. Every time you go on the European server, you're not going to guarantee 100% lose. So make your mind up on that one, but in my opinion, it's not the case that the European server is worse.